Mic sounds good. All right, guys. So we're gonna get started. Just to make sure we respect everybody's time. We got some big people here today, and I know they're super busy. So I want to move this along and get started with everything. So, as always, I'm gonna go over some ground rules. Welcome to Sour Mouse, and Sour Mouse, thank you for having us again and sponsoring this event. We have bartenders that, please, I need you guys to support them so we can continue to come back here, because if we don't support the bartenders, then we're gonna have to figure out maybe a different location. So please support the bartenders. Andressa, can you raise your hand, please? Is anybody gonna be able to come around and take orders today, or no? All right, unfortunately not. So if everybody's respectful, nobody's gonna lose their seats. You'll be able to go up to the bar. They got food, drinks, whatever you guys need. So please support the bar. Welcome to Music Vitamins. If you are an artist, DJ, producer, label owner, manager, anybody in the music game, and you like to get to the next level, I know personally that it's very difficult to do so, as has been said many times by people on this panel. And there's so much information out there that I know sometimes is overwhelming, and it literally makes you feel sick to your stomach, makes your head spin. But hopefully you come and take some music vitamins every week, and we can help you feel a little better and get to the next level. That's the premise of the show. So, as always, we're going to go over some industry updates and topics, things that I believe, if you're an artist, manager, DJ, all the above, need to know right now to consider, to understand what's going on so you can, incorporate that into your strategy. We're going to go over an industry topic. If you were here last time, I did a deep dive into Drake's career and how he really blew up, just going over all the elements. And if you were here last time, I told you we're doing Russ's strategy. So we're going to break down Russ today. And then we're going to go to the industry panel. We're going to take a quick break before doing that. We're going to do the industry panel. I'm going to announce the panelists. And during the panel, we have 3 artists that are performing like last time. They get to showcase their brand. They have 1 minute to pitch their brand, kind of like Shark Tank, and they get to do one song. And then we go around the panel to see what people think. And then at the end, if we still have some time, we're going to do a 15-minute Q&A so you guys get to ask questions to some of the big people that are here tonight. So let me start with the industry updates. So look, you guys probably heard everybody's talking about TikTok in the news. That is there a potential that it may get shut down this time around? I'm hoping it doesn't. I hope they figure it out. But as I said before through a lot of my videos, India has already shut it down. That was their biggest market before they sort of saturated the U.S. market. And so far it's not looking good. But one thing I want to say, just from all my experience in running the companies I've been running, and me being a foreign kid coming to the United States, able to travel the world, go back to Europe, see my family. My father lives in China, and just understanding the whole geopolitical landscape right now, there may be a retaliation that may happen from Congress against what's going on with right now China supporting Putin and all that, right? Like, that's something you got to consider. So if it gets shut down, I don't want everybody to stress about it, because that is the nature of the game. That's the evolution of some of these platforms. We've had Vine shut down. We have many different platforms in the past that shut down. It is what it is. But in order not to lose all the effort and the skills that you've learned from being on TikTok, building your brand on there, I would just suggest go ahead and get one of those apps that allows you to download every single video you ever posted without the watermark. Get it off the platform, put it into your Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever the case may be, because you could just repurpose it to another platform. We got Reels out there, YouTube Shorts. You should be on that every single day anyhow. And for some reason, people in the U.S. are sleeping on Facebook Reels. I keep saying that, okay, I'm not saying it's not true that on Facebook, a lot of the youngins in America may not be on there engaging every single day, but there's still millions of 18 to 30-year-olds on Facebook from the U.S. Maybe not as many millions as there were like 10 years ago, but not only around the world, but in the U.S., Facebook is still big. And guess what? Because Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are feeling the pressure of what TikTok has done to the game, and everybody giving their attention to TikTok, they've been pushing their platform in a way where they're trying to make it like TikTok. So it's actually much easier to go viral on Facebook Reels right now than it ever was in the last 3 to 5 years. We're going to talk about that a little bit in the Rush strategy as well, right? So that's the gist of that. If it gets shut down, it is what it is. There's nothing we could do about it. You could use a VPN, try to get on it still, interact on the platform. but I've seen these things happen. Like I said, it happened to India. My other business that I own, I have 60 employees in India. I go there every single year. Trust me, no consumer over there is sitting on the VPN on their phone with a different IP address still interacting with TikTok. It just died off, unfortunately. That's what happened. So, I don't want to scare anybody, but that's just something I think everybody should be aware of. And again, look, the great news is that if you actually build a brand on TikTok, you've probably done it because you post every day. So the fact that you build that skill, just transfer it somewhere else. Just like all the attention in the U.S. that goes to TikTok on a daily basis, it's going to transfer with the quickness, right? It's going to go to probably Instagram Reels, Shorts for sure, and people are going to start finding about, Facebook. I mean, not starting to find about, there's people already on there. Next update, right? This is an article, one of my, favorite blogs or news sites for the music industry, kind of business aspects, music business worldwide. But this is not really news, but it was interesting to see this article. There's a company in France that did some deep dive into how bad is fake streaming, like, the bot streams or some of the BS third-party Spotify playlists, things like that. It's not just Spotify that's affected by this, but Deezer in Europe is affected by this as well. But it turns out, according to this article, that there is over 1 billion fake streams per year. I mean, just in 2021, and that's the ones they were able to catch. The bot farms, which is, imagine a room like this, like a server room with like 10,000 cell phones just sitting plugged in, all accessing certain URLs. They're all over the world. That's the reality, and they're getting smarter and smarter, right? All you got to do is emulate the behavior of a real person online. So they're still out there, but I'm going to go over some elements of why, you should consider definitely not using it, but also why certain artists can use it and get away with it, so you understand why that happens. Because I get it all the time when our clients come to our company and say, well, all these big names are on these, they're definitely getting fake streams. They're using these Spotify playlists, blah, 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 blah. Well, the difference is, which is really the last point, is that when you have millions of streams happening every time you put out a song because the label invested millions of dollars in you to build a fan base, and there's going to be millions of real streams, organic streams already, and you sprinkle a few more million other bot streams on top of it just to get, a better placements on certain charts or things like that, it doesn't affect the algorithm as much because there's so much real user-generated data and traffic on all these different platforms. But if you're independent and you're trying to get out there and you have 100 fans, but then you get 10,000, 100,000 fake streams on your Spotify, it ruins your account for some time until you market your way out of it, basically. That's what I call it. Because you got a bunch of bot data. So it affects your algorithmic playlists, if you can even get on any of those. You know what I'm saying? It's just, same thing with Instagram and all that. Going back to what I was saying earlier, that there's an evolution of these platforms. Trust me, Instagram, Facebook, and all of them, they need to always make sure that there's the least amount of bots able to live on that platform. Why? Because they're public companies, for one. Second of all, they make billions of dollars off of advertising. So like my company that advertises for artists, if I knew that every time we set up an ad and we spend $20 a day on an artist ad, for example, and it projects that it can get in front of, let's say, 30,000 people, and I know that 40% of those potentially bots, who's going to want to advertise? You know what I'm saying? So Instagram, Facebook, everybody, it's like, like the Norton virus protection platform for PCs, right? They want to make sure that it's not available online. But of course, that's the name of the game. Like, there's always going to be that. But for independent artists, don't play around with the perception traffic in the beginning. It ruins your algorithms. It suffocates your ability to go viral, to actually build a fan base to engage. And again, to explain why some big artists can get away with it is because it doesn't affect their algorithm as much because they have millions of real people already engaging with their content. So the question is, how can you detect if you're getting basically bamboozled by fake streams? I was at Benedict College yesterday. I got invited to speak there in front of a bunch of students in their art program. And that was one of the questions that the artist asked me. And I was like, it's really simple, at least because I've looked at, hundreds of artist accounts, Apple Music for artists, Amazon Music for artists, Pandora numbers, Spotify and all that. It's actually pretty easy to tell if you're getting fake numbers, especially on Spotify. If you happen to be on one of those playlists and you're getting 0 or minimum of Shazams, that's one telltale sign, in my opinion, that it's not real traffic. Because when we advertise for our clients and drive a lot of traffic to their Spotify songs, it trickles down to their other platforms. Their Apple Music numbers start going up. Their Amazon Music start going up. They actually get, music must be good, right? Let me say that first. That's the prerequisite. If your music sucks, then that's maybe another reason why you're not getting any engagement, whether it's real or not. But the music is good, or at least decent. That attention of real people streaming your song on Spotify will trickle down to the platforms. You may get DM like, bro, I love you, love your song, blah, blah, I found you on Spotify. If the ad is seen by somebody, let's say, driving in the car, and they play it on their Spotify, but they're with a bunch of friends in their car and they don't have Spotify, guess what? They may Shazam it and then stream it on Apple Music and all that. So it's not, the trickle down happens. It's not huge percentages, but that's one easy way to basically tell if it's BS traffic. Another one, which, I have by the way, scan the QR code in the beginning to make sure you follow me and you can get all this information. And if you're not in my NDR's accelerator, where we go over this information all the time, another way to tell easily, which I've asked hundreds of artists if they ever listened to the actual playlist they just pay money to get on, 99.9% say, I've never listened to it. And that's crazy to me. And the reason I say that is because if you, as a fan of music, would listen to that playlist and see every third or fourth song is some, BS on there because anybody could pay money to get on it, think about the fact that would a consumer or you yourself as a music fan ever listen to that playlist? If the answer is no, then there's probably no real people listening to it. You know what I'm saying? That's another easy way to tell. And I already talked about the trickle-down effect, so I don't want to take too much time with it, but be vigilant out there. Make sure it's real traffic. Always ask, are the people that are streaming my music real? You got to be able to tell. And then you're gonna find out why that's important when we talk about the Russ strategy. So again, there's the QR code. QR code is right there. You can't really see that one, but scan that so you can get more information like this. The reason I do these case studies is really for empowerment of everybody in this room, right? So I want to give you guys a more in-depth understanding of all the factors that may have been in play during Russ's kind of marketing in the really 20 plus years that he's been doing music, you know what I'm saying? I want to empower you with that understanding so you can try to emulate that strategy, but also understand what's kind of like history now that may not work and how to adapt it in 2023 and beyond. And again, in my opinion, if that improves your guys' understanding how to do business, I think the entire ecosystem of the music industry benefits because then labels have an easier time to partner with artists, make more money, and there's a lot less BS going on, and it just helps the whole, artist community. So let's talk about Russ. He's a good example, in my opinion, of the 10,000-hour strategy, if you guys ever heard of that to become a master at something, you want to spend at least 10,000 hours on it. He's really probably like 50,000 hours in. Why? Because at age 7, he started playing instruments, learned the guitar, right, and learned many instruments after that. That's why he can produce all of his own music. In 2011, Russ and his friend and fellow rapper Boogus, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I apologize if I don't. And by the way, this is just research that I've done. It's not like I know Russ personally, but you can go online and see hundreds of interviews by him, right? So him and his man got on MTV through the single El Jefe, which gained traction. This is in 2011, right? And I'm sure you guys would agree Russ is a smart dude. So don't tell me that Russ didn't make any connections that might have lasted, in his career that he could rely back on down the line. I mean, they were on MTV with a hit that was buzzing. This is back in 2011. That's why they were able to form their sort of artist collective, aka label, early on. And he was basically, look, there's an article in 2012 that he was described as the in-house producer for, is it Diamond? Does somebody know his record label? Diamond? There you go. So the reason I want to highlight, we'll talk about it later, but there's already articles out there about him, right? So it's not just that cliche thing that everybody talks about, he just dropped a song every week for a year, and that's how he blew up. There's some marketing that goes into it. There's some PR. This is the first early example of that. Again, from early 2011 to 2014, Russ released 11 full albums and 87 singles that didn't really move the needle for him at all. Right? We'll talk about we're going to talk about what benefits he got from that, because there's certainly a benefit he got from that. Shortly after that, in 2014, which is really the case study I'm going to focus on, is the strategy that everybody kind of hears on the internet, that those videos where he's like, yo, I started dropping songs every single week on SoundCloud, and a year later I'm blown up. And people just say, oh, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to just drop a song every single week, right? But you'll see that it's not as simple, but again, not to scare you or discourage you from doing that. You're going to be empowered to understand what else was done, so if you do something similar, you could potentially reach similar success, right? So he did that from 2014 for about 2 years, which was, close to 100 songs that he did that way. And then in early 2017, he signs a partnership with Columbia Records because he got a lot of leverage. So it was a 50-50 partnership. Jay-Z and Damon Dash did the same thing back in the day. Murder Inc. did similar things because they were able to, get in front of a lot of fans. They were able to do shows that had a lot of leverage. We'll talk about what type of leverage I'm talking about. And then, after that, on May 5th, in 2018, the first, he calls it a technically official album, at least on the label. There's Really a Wolf went platinum and all that. So I'm not going to get into the recent career because you guys can look all that up. I want to get into the meat of the dropping one song a week strategy, because in my accelerator where we have hundreds of members, that's the thing I hear all the time. Well, I'm just going to drop a song per week like Russ and I'm going to blow up. It's not as simple as you think, but it is possible. So let's also talk about the evolution of some of these platforms, because I was talking about that last time, is that SoundCloud in 2014 when he was doing this was sort of in the early stages of what SoundCloud was. You heard that a lot, that they would the SoundCloud rappers, that they would blow up on there. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The other company that I own, where I have over 60 employees and we work with huge names like Victoria's Secret, Goodyear, the tire company, Procter & Gamble brands, we build their e-commerce websites on the back end and maintain them. So I know a little bit about software. But SoundCloud was very SEO friendly, search optimization friendly. So if you put your song on SoundCloud, if you guys remember back in 2014, and you go on blogs and articles online, you will see those little widgets that were SoundCloud, you could play it. That's very beneficial for your brand if you're able to get on decent blogs and articles or channels that are able to embed that little widget in there. So that's huge that he was able to benefit from. Not saying it doesn't work now, but he was like, the first mover advantage. He was one of the first people that really took it seriously, at least in the U.S. The DSPs, digital streaming platforms. If you think about it, 2013, 2014, that was really the early years of independent artists being able to use platforms like TuneCore, CD Baby, and other similar ones to actually get their songs on there. I think at the time, if my research is correct, in 2014, there was only 6 aggregators. They call them aggregators. Basically, DistroKid is an aggregator. That's the platform that gets all your songs as independent artists on there. So even those algorithms are different. And in 2014, I'm sure you guys would agree that, I don't know what it is today, but it's around 70,000 songs every single day are uploaded to Spotify by independent and major artists all together. So it certainly wasn't that in 2014. Let's say it was 5,000 or 10,000. Maybe it was more, but that's another advantage you get, right? Because it's easier to get on editorial playlists. It's just easier to trigger those algorithms. And remember, even though he talks about Spotify a lot, it wasn't just Spotify that gave him a lot of recognition. He still got on iTunes, Apple Music. Not even sure if Amazon Music was out at the time, but there was Amazon, the regular store where you can purchase the CDs. There was Rhapsody, not LimeWire. What's the other one that started? Anyways, there was a lot of them still on there. So that's another thing you have to consider. And I could tell you from personal experience, I had a channel in 2011 called Tech Vitamins, which is where this kind of brand and evolution kind of happened from posting videos once a week. I've built thousands. You can check it out. It's on YouTube. I think I got like 5,000 subscribers. I'm still getting checks from Google today for that content because it lives on. It was like reviews on technology and things like that. So again, in the early days, and this is also when I was getting into music, it was a lot easier to go viral. So you have to consider that. Now it's super, super saturated. But those examples happen over and over and over again because guess what? TikTok was in those early stages in 2018, 19, 20. It was super easy to go viral. You know what I'm saying? When Vine first came out, the first couple of years, again, if you were the first mover, you were able to take advantage of it. So a lot of artists always tell me, especially rappers, for some reason, like, nah, man, I can't get on TikTok, just boycotting it. Don't boycott it, man. Like, do it your own way. You don't got to dance or be stupid or funny on it. It's another platform that if they do what they're going to do right and market the shit out of it, you're going to benefit from that because today TikTok is not a dance platform. It's like what Instagram was back in 20. Everybody is on TikTok. including educational content, all of that. I'm doing well on TikTok, so it's not just dancing. So consider that. And same thing for YouTube, Twitter, and other social media. You could just hear some, see some snippets. What I want to show to that 2014 strategy of him putting out songs every single day, he's also reaching out to blogs and magazines and different channels that help artists, get their music out there. And you can hear him talking about in the interviews, in the Complex interview with DJ Academics and Joe Budden, if you guys remember that. He came on, they got a little heated. I think Joe Budden skipped out on the episode about the girl, I forgot her name, that used to be on that podcast. He was basically saying, look, I used to email you guys all the time. I never got no response until I actually started catching buzz, you know what I'm saying? Another example, look, 2016, and hold on, let me get rid of this. Is that on there? Yeah, this little widget. He already has an article on Billboard. This is probably before when a lot of you guys found out about him. The way I find out about Russ is my buddy who actually works on Wall Street texts me. He's like, yo, this is a new rapper. Have you heard? I'm like, nah. And the reason I'm saying that story is because that was the power of SoundCloud back in the day, right? Like, people actually read blogs back then. Right now, from all the data, at least we're getting with the artists that we work with, at least for hip-hop and R&B, blogs are used more for, manipulation purposes, PR, to get your blue check and things like that. But I can guarantee you, I've seen the numbers, it's very difficult to actually gain real fans from blogs, because fans generally don't read blogs to discover new music, at least not today. But what I'm telling you is that worked back then, and it was very fruitful for him. And he's reaching out to people all the time. So let's keep going. That's the list of emails a little bit deeper. I'm saying that if you're going to get on blogs and expect to gain real fans, that's not what's going to happen. Now, if you're at a certain point of your career where it makes sense to improve your search engine optimization to get on certain blogs, it may be beneficial. Just, again, be vigilant and understand the business and understand what can happen when you get on certain blogs. Because some blogs are for, perception, even though they build a big name and Google recognizes as a big, authoritative URL. So let's go, look deeper into some elements, because I talk about this a lot, and I want to, I got 5 more minutes. So Russ is also from Atlanta. Major industry town for the music, just like New York, Nashville, and LA. I tell you guys all the time, if you're from New York, you're blessed to be in New York just for that reason. Because I'm in the DMV, and the music industry does not exist there. There's no satellite offices from major labels, or if there is, there's very few, maybe DC. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to rub shoulders with big people like DJ Enuff right here, right? You know what I'm saying? He's here today. You may, catch him when he comes out of the office at Hot 97, downtown Manhattan. So those occurrences do not happen in other areas. So that's one contribution. Another thing is that most people don't talk about, I don't know why, but you guys know who Kid Super is? In the fashion world? I think recently he was asked by Louis Vuitton to do something, but major fashion dude in New York. They were like friends. Russ's family is originally from New Jersey, so he was back and forth between probably the 2 biggest industry towns on this planet for music. You know what I'm saying? So that helps. You have to agree that helps, because you're able to meet these people, get their information, send them emails, talk to them and all that. So as he's putting out songs every single week, that is also going on in the background, which, again, these podcasts, and when people take those snippets and put it on YouTube and try to get their 15 minutes of fame and put up a reel that's going to go viral, they take that thing where it's like, oh, look, March 2015, there's $2,000 I made from TuneCore, and it just makes people think that the sheer fact of just putting up a new song on SoundCloud every single week is the reason that he blew up. It wasn't that alone at all. So again, if you guys remember the song What They Want, which is the song that kind of blew him up a little bit. That was his 98th song in that 2014 and 2015 strategy. So it was one of the last ones, which again proves that it was incremental growth of growing his fan base. Let's go to the finances. So because he was able to learn instruments in the early days and put in probably 30,000 hours of perfecting his craft and put out 11 albums and 87 singles, think about how good he got at making beats, mixing, mastering. I don't know why we got the little feedback, but he basically was able to, produce dope-ass songs. Now, luckily he got better as a rapper as well from the early days, but all that contributes to that. And the reason I'm talking about the finances, because imagine if you're still a dope artist, lyricist, or a singer, but you're not able to produce songs yourself and you have to buy instrumentals, even if you're just leasing them or buying them exclusive, it will cost you probably $52,000 a year to put up a song there's 52 weeks in a year, right? To put up a song every single week, to get it mixed and mastered. My man, Third Eye Sound, mixed by Gabriel's here somewhere. He's got a studio in Brooklyn. And if you wanted to buy a beat from him that you own exclusive and get it mixed and mastered and recorded there, you're not going to get it for $1,000 because this man is already a Billboard charting producer. You know what I'm saying? But if you work with a talented producer that's not Billboard charting yet, you may be able to do like 500 or so. So consider that. And that's not even talking about marketing. That's just the sheer value of producing the product. You know what I'm saying? Then we got, he was doing his own PR. If you do your own PR and you start reaching out to the smaller blogs here and there, that's probably actually more valuable than paying a PR agency to get you on those, that perception strategy, paying thousands of dollars and you get nothing out of it. I've unfortunately got scammed like that many times with the artists that I invested money into. We paid $6,000. It was going to be a 3-month thing, and they were like, yeah, we can get you on Complex, X, Y, and Z. And I'm not saying they didn't pitch my artists to those big name blogs, but when the editors at those blogs actually looked at the brand that my artist had, which was very minimal, they were like, look, he's not able to get on our blog yet. You know what I'm saying? So if you do it on your own locally, it's going to be much better than trying to get on the big ones first. And that's exactly what Russ was doing. I gave the example in the last screen. In 2015, he's going on the smaller blogs that help him to propel to the next level. You can read all these quotes if you want. The branding aspect. In Russ's case, is crucial, right? Because, look, there's 1,001 different ways to make a brand. But Russ wasn't the rapper that was like driving around in Lamborghinis in his videos and had to have, a lot of jewelry on and things like that, as an example. But his brand was sort of authenticity and like kind of what was in his head, because people fell in love with his lyrics and his personality and things like that. So if you remember what they want, that was a video like in the woods, basically. There was some cool editing going on. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't necessary to... Is it still a problem? He figured out how to authentically brand himself. That's the key. You know what I'm saying? There's no like one blueprint I can give you to say brand yourself like X, Y, and Z and you're going to succeed. The branding is like, it's important, but it's secondary. The consistency and these other elements that he was able to do, the fact that he was able to connect with people, network with people, and put out dope material every single week and not stop, that was what started catching attention of everyone. And then when his song got 87 on the Billboard charts for What They Want, I've had this happen to a few of our clients. When you get anything above or under 100, like you can get 87 on the Billboards, 56 and all that. You can't really see it publicly, but the blogs in the industry sees them. You get not a lot, you get some free press if you're able to make Billboard charts. You know what I'm saying? So that clearly propelled everything going forward. And again, I don't want to discount anybody else's strategy and what you guys are doing in terms of branding, but the consistency and the 50,000 hours you spend and learn how to produce instruments, rap, and constantly doing it and failing and figuring out what didn't work is really one of the main key points. And I've seen there's a lot of different entrepreneurs that help them get to the next level. I could tell you a story that I know firsthand about this podcast, right? Even though it has a different name, the same structure, everything we have today, I already have 35, you can go on my YouTube channel, 35 episodes of, it's called Hustle Vitamins. Same concept. First 25 minutes, I do a monologue about what's going on in the industry. Then we play a song. Then we have an interview. Then we play a song. Then we have an interview. And then last, we would listen to 3 artists and do it. There's 35 episodes of that. Then my man JC allowed me to start coming to his spot, Colorworks in Queens, which we did 7 episodes over there. This is episode, technically, like I said, this is episode like 42, right? And we're still just here. But if we keep going and all the accumulation of that experience, that brand building, my experience alone in the company that I have and other companies that I ran and been successful at, like how much money does that cost? The reason I'm saying that is because I'm comparing it to what Russ was able to do. It's not just the sheer fact of putting up a song every single day, but how much money would you have to spend if you're the investor and you wanted to find a Russ to actually do that? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of underlying costs that people don't talk about, and how much money and time is invested into something that allows somebody to spend 10 years to get to a point where they blow up overnight. I'm sure everybody's heard the phrase, it took us 10 years to blow up overnight. And it's because those 10 years did not go to waste. Even though the first 3-4 years must have been frustrating as shit, and you got beat for a lot of money and scam left and right and all that. I feel like that's like something you got to go through in the music industry if you want to make it. It is what it is. But all that, if you have a positive attitude and you're consistent, then it can happen. You know what I'm saying? And if I've met many big entrepreneurs. I'm talking about, like Kevin Plank that owns Under Armour. Met him 5 times. He's from Baltimore. So I know billionaires and heard their stories. I read many books. And if I had to pick 1 or 2 qualities that make people get to the next level, it's consistency is 1. And the second thing is finding enjoyment in solving problems. Because that's the fail part. Because you're going to fail 10,000 times. And if that makes you frustrated, depressed, and all of that, I mean, nobody would continue to do that. So those are the 2 elements, right? And I'm going to end it so we can get to the panel with some last words about marketing because everything has evolved. We're in 2023. So to say that you can do a lot of things organically and all of that, the game has changed. And I think the word organic, a lot of people get that confused. I don't care if it's paid or organic, it doesn't matter. All of that is called marketing. Grassroots marketing, if you knock on doors from door to door, that's still marketing. You still got to spend money to eat for that day. You probably have to drive to those neighborhoods, right? So if you sit down with your accountant, he's going to tell you put all those costs in the column under marketing. So, don't argue with yourself whether or not you're going to do it organically or paid or whatever. Paid advertising catches attention, and if the attention is right and you have a good brand, that will quickly turn into organic, continuous follower or a fan for life. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Russ was able to do shows, that's the major leverage that basically got him the 50-50 partnership with the label, right? Just like I can get you guys, how many of you have been following me for multiple years that have been here over and over again, you know what I'm saying, that are in this room. So, again, I've built my Instagram following the real way. I don't need no fake numbers. I don't need numbers from India and Pakistan and Bangladesh to make it look like I was making it. It cost me a lot more money, 10 times more, but I kept building in this area so then I can turn people out to live shows. Russ did the same shit, So that's why I want you to be more knowledgeable about the business and hopefully use that knowledge to really get in front of real people. I don't care if you do it here today or you do it through a digital marketing strategy, but that's the name of the game. Get in front of real people, and marketing cannot stop. I don't care if it's time spent or money spent. It's all marketing at the end of the day. So I'm going to end it there. If you guys want to see the Dre case study, is it up yet, Justin? Okay, it's up on my YouTube. It was basically the segment from last time. If you weren't here, you can go ahead and look at that. So it took it probably a little bit longer. So let's get to the panel so I don't waste people's time. Thank you. So first, I'm going to introduce E, if you want to come up, DJ Enuff. And I, had very fortunate and blessed and humbled that I've been able to meet this guy, over probably 2 years ago now through my man Jay, Heavy Hitter Family. But thank you for coming. So DJ Enuff, as you guys know, a legend in New York City, and the fact that this man was Biggie's DJ, and when I moved to the United States, before I even spoke English, and I was a fan of Biggie and Tupac, that was just mind-boggling to me that I was able to meet somebody that started his career being Biggie's, tour DJ, and then pretty much runs the city when it comes to breaking records, entertaining everybody, on the radio for years and years and years. So thank you for coming through, man. So we got DJ Enuff. Next, we got my man Eric Parler, EP, one of the VPs of Def Jam, of lifestyle branding and mix shows, and I'm very thankful to have you on board today because I'm definitely going to ask you a lot of questions about what exactly that means so artists can find out what that means from a label standpoint. And then we're blessed to also have Rachel and Dennis from LL Business Management, which is, so this is a company, right? These companies are not spoken about a lot, and as artists I think you need to know about them, but this company and these individuals that are here today have 25 years of experience and work with some of the biggest names in the industry. Their history goes back to the start when Eminem started, which is 20 years ago at this point. It was 98, more than 20 years. And their roster of management includes names like Eminem, 50 Cent, Timbaland, DMX, rest in peace, Juice WRLD, rest in peace, Nas, and Lil Nas X. Yeah, that was Nas X. Lil Nas X, which we all know how major he is. So thank you guys for being here. And we can get started with the panel. And if you don't mind, we only have one mic, so it'll be shared across. And it helps us kind of like, make sure. Oh, we got two. All right. My apologies. So we got two mics. One question that I would like to start with, and we'll start with DJ Enuff, is, and everybody's talking about this, AI in the music industry, ChatGPT, right? And every panel we have for the last 3 panels, I've asked this. So I want to get your thoughts of how do you think it could help you, or you're not about it, or like what have you heard? Like what are your thoughts, period? Like how's it going to impact
Give me the
industry?
information first so I know what I'm talking about. The AI.
Oh, okay, so
what, we got fake DJs now in AI?
maybe.
So I'm afraid now.
So, all right, when so there was a fake Kanye song. Who else? Kendrick was here. But when basically, this is what I think it could do for DJs, right? It's a language learning AI tool, and you can ask it online, like, hey, ChatGPT, give me 10 songs that are in the BPM of 120 that I can throw into my mix right now to match with the song I'm about to play right now, and it'll just give you all the names and links to it. Like,
all right, that's a tool.
That's a tool.
But I'm not mad at that.
Right.
That's just like using Google. It's the same thing. It's information. That's all it is.
Okay.
It's not going to technically teach you to be a better DJ. It's just going to line your stuff up. So I'm cool with that.
Okay. I think that's the right answer, right? Because people are boycotting it. Like, use it as a tool. That's
yeah, if you use it as, look, Serato, I was against when it first started, and it was only because I was pissed because whenever I do a nightclub, I had 15 guys with me. And at 4 a.m., those 15 guys would be gone or be drunk. And who's carrying the crates? Home by myself, 4 flights of stairs at 5 in the morning. Me. So when Serato came, I didn't need the 15 guys no more. And if they got drunk, who gave a fuck? So I put it in my laptop, in my backpack, and at the end of the night, I got home safe by myself. So that was a tool. Okay. So I wasn't mad at it. Yeah. That's all it is.
And I think that's the way, it should be embraced. I mean, you have no choice, honestly. So
at this point,
embrace
no.
it or boycott it, right? EP, what are your thoughts on? Have you heard of AI?
Yeah, no, I think it's an awesome cheat code.
Okay, there you go.
Like it's gonna help younger guys get to the finish line. Like he said, you're gonna skip some steps, but I'm not really mad at it. I mean, but it's a super cheat code. Like the first time I saw it and experienced it, I was like, wow, this is different. But, it's technology. You can't really be mad about it. I mean, like you said, you can hate as much as you can, but you'll look like a dinosaur if you...
So let me ask you this. We had Ron Stu on here 2 episodes ago, and he was saying that at their label, he've heard people say that they use it to write contracts real quickly.
Yeah.
There you go. So
yeah, it's a tool. Like he said, it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's helpful,
Yep.
And, you could utilize it to do what you need to do.
All right. Rachel, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's technology that...
Is her mic on?
On now? There we go.
Yep, we're good. Awesome, thank you.
I think it's incredible technology that's only going to get even better than it already is. I don't think we've seen it bleed too much into business management yet. That doesn't mean I don't think it will. But it's starting, I think, to take, or people think it's capable of taking over the jobs that humans are doing, replacing human jobs entirely. I just think it's something to watch carefully, but it's an incredible tool.
Yeah, I can give you, this is a free gem from me for you guys, for the management company. So at my software company, we have a ton of clients, a lot of client conversations, everything is held in the spreadsheets from project management. We're going to be later training ChatGPT on our own system. So let's say we have a call with a client. I can say, hey, ChatGPT, on March 15th when we had a call with VP of Victoria's Secret, what requirements do we talk about that have to be done on the back end to do X, Y, and Z? And it's going to go through our system, answer, boom, as opposed to having to watch 10 videos and transcribe, all of that.
Yeah.
So, I think training that on your own systems, if you have a company, that's where it's kind of heading at. hopefully it doesn't wipe us out. But until then, that's how we could use it. How about you? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's definitely an incredible technology. I struggle with coming up with names, and I literally just used it to come up with my company name. I just typed it in, business names, and they spit out 12 of them. You can't stop technology, but I think it's good to be a little bit skeptical and really take a step back and look at how can we use this in the best way possible moving forward.
Okay, cool. So next question that I would like to get into, should probably go to EP first, but I know everybody can comment on this, is I would love for you to explain, I have my own assumptions of what is your position when it says VP of lifestyle branding and mix shows. Like, explain to the artists what lifestyle branding is.
Lifestyle marketing and promotion is when the music bleeds over into sports, wrestling, fashion, movies. It's what we live and breathe. It's our lifestyle. So, we utilize the lifestyle platforms to break records and to introduce records and trends into different things. Like, for a perfect example is last week, LeBron James, he would be a key lifestyle person because everybody's watching him. He has, close to 4 million followers. He did a post. He posted a Connie Diamond's move freestyle that she did. So that would be an example of utilizing lifestyle. He's not a musician or a traditional way. It's kind of like an untraditional way of marketing and promoting to get to our core, and that it helps drive the needle. So it's like I can go to Enuff, like he knows it now. So he's like, you know what? Maybe I should play it because if LeBron is watching it, maybe I might not like it, but obviously there is a core out there that's checking for it. So that's what and wrestling has become a really big lifestyle thing too. Like I'm learning that. Like when I saw Bad Bunny actually jump in the ring and become a wrestler, it was like, wow, this is different. You know what I mean? That's a lifestyle thing. Right. And like when the football players or the boxers on their way to the ring, when they're playing a certain record and they have an artist with them, that's lifestyle. I mean, it's sports and fashion, it's all parallel. Yeah. So we utilize it as much as we possibly can to drive home our initiatives because, we got to use everything. Yeah.
Because, so you're basically aligning the artist's music, like the example I gave earlier, that fact that Russ knew Kid Super. No, Kid Super's out here in New York doing fashion shows and all that, probably playing Russ songs during the, the whatever, what's it called, the model walkthrough.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, E, what do you think? How does...
For me, I mean,
how does that work?
I'm afraid of one thing. Because if I'm considered the legend OG curator in the market, right? And I don't catch the rhythm or the beat of whatever's next, I feel like I'm behind. So I use whatever tools that are available. I don't care if it's TikTok. I don't care if it's LeBron James posts. If it's my girlfriend saying or my wife saying, yo, I love this song. So whatever energy it is, because my playlist is different than my son's playlist. And when I listen to my son's playlist, I'm like, damn, he's really listening to that. And then there's some records that I feel they could have millions and millions of views or downloads. Sometimes they just not fit for Hot 97. And that's me being the elder statesman, just protecting my brand and protecting the radio station's culture of whatever is left of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that we have to do as a community. So that's where sometimes artificial intelligence scares me, because sometimes the algorithms are moving so fast, I can't catch up. I'm only one person. You guys of listening to these playlists that are curated by thousands and thousands of people. I'm only one guy. You know what I'm saying?
Dennis and Rachel, what are your thoughts on? Like, actually, could you, if you feel comfortable, could you tell us about some major brand deals or endorsements or sponsorships that you were able to align with some of the big names you guys represent and like?
Yeah, what I was going to say is from a lifestyle and branding perspective, what the two of them just said, they have 10 times more knowledge on that than we do. But from a business management side, we see how lucrative these relationships and these partnerships and these deals are. So it definitely can make or break an artist or anyone in the entertainment industry.
Right. Any thoughts?
And EP, you mentioned the wrestling and the walkouts, and just the most recent a UFC fighter came out to an artist song, and they were going back and forth on their stories and just blowing it all up.
Yeah,
and
that the Shazams go up from that point on.
Exactly, and that leads to more opportunities and more brand deals and whatnot. It's crazy, and a lot of our artists kind of come to us and lean on, where can we break into? And that's not really our forte, but having knowledge about, the lifestyle and branding, we can kind of help push them in the right direction and take a look at the deals that come through.
Makes sense. And one thing I could tell you guys is like the brand, the lifestyle brand has to align. Example would be like if Russ, instead of knowing Kid Super, which fashion, we can already agree fashion and music aligns very well. But if Russ knew like the biggest real estate guy in the U.S., there's not much, the alignment is not the same. There's probably not going to be a ton of people in there that may want to listen to rap. But the fact that it was fashion, it was key. And I can give you many examples. We actually had a client who grew his TikTok page by first faking that he got endorsement deals, right? He would do dumb stuff in the house and he'd be like, this is sponsored by Starbucks, or like this is sponsored by the Ninja Bullet, whatever, a shake maker. But it showed the brands in the future. It was like, oh, this guy's getting sponsored, or at least it showed the future brands that he was intelligently talking about their product, and he built his brand that way. And then guess what? Probably the 20th product he talked about, that was probably a real sponsorship paid by the company.
This part of the show was sponsored by Lexus. I'm just saying that. Oh, by Tesla. Want to say do Tesla instead?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Let's do Tesla.
Hey, we're gonna put it into fruition, right, y'all?
That's
what
right.
it is.
20 episodes.
This is why we here. Music vitamins. Let's drop the knowledge and let's use it.
Do it. Awesome. So I do want to get everybody's perspective and opinion, and feel free to share as much knowledge as I know. This is a taboo topic sometimes for certain executives to talk about. At least from my experience, this whole bot streaming stuff, these streaming farms. Like I would love to know, like, do you see any effects? You probably don't as a DJ, but let me know if you, like, have you ever found out about an artist because somebody called you and was like, yo, E, check this guy out. He's got 200,000 listeners on Spotify, and just because of that, you're like, oh, sure, I'll play the record.
And I mean, I've gotten a lot of that, but usually the record label reps are smart enough to say, yo, look how many followers he has, look how many whatever. But like I said, it got to feel good. I mean, at the end of the day, the music got to feel good. And I got a pretty good handle on what feels good. You know what I mean? I've been around for a minute. I have a lot of people around me still. I got a collective of 120 disc jockeys from here all across the world. So if I don't get it from Atlanta, I got somebody in ATL who can hold me down. Miami, same thing. Texas, Houston, Dallas, California. So if I'm weak in a certain city or a certain spot, one of my DJs could hold me down and tell me the truth. Nah, he's really buzzing in this marketplace. And when I play his record, it does this. And whenever he performs, it does that. See, that to me is the real algorithm. You know what I'm saying? That's why my heavy hitter brand is so priceless to me, because it's like that's the stuff we do. You can't get that on whatever this AI thing is. It doesn't show you that. You feel me? And to me, y'all, that's keeping it homegrown. Because this is how the culture was based on. I started my DJ collective because I wanted to know what was cracking in other cities. So that way I knew whenever I traveled to Miami with you back in the late 90s, we were like, yo, what's popping in Miami? I don't know. So I had to look in the magazine to tell me. And the magazine was printed last month. So how current was the information I was getting? It wasn't really current. But then I got with Ricky Lee used to have a column called in Hits Magazine. And that was, for me, back when I was first coming up as a disc jockey, for my name to be in this magazine meant everything. Because every other radio disc jockey like myself was in this magazine, from Miami to Dallas to Texas to Sacramento, Washington, D.C., you name it, they was on there. So I was like, yo, I got to represent, I got to be on there. And all they wanted to know was the hottest 3 records that we fuck with. That's it. 3 records. But it was 3 records from the Baker Boys, 3 records from Red Alert, 3 records from Felly Fell in L.A., 3 records from the guys in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, that was the vibe. And that information actually helped me grow. So that way when I navigated and moved around the city and the country, I knew what I was doing. You feel me?
Yeah, that's huge. I'm glad you say that. And that's been my experience as well. once I was able to actually work with legit people in the industry and big names, you can't fool people at the top. You're gonna be exposed. Like, so don't think that because you got the numbers, because everybody tells you to build a number, they just don't say how properly. The numbers are not just gonna get you in front of the people that can actually help you break your career. 99% of the time. But EP, let me know your thoughts on.
I hate it because I've seen bots and phony numbers take opportunities from other artists. Because what happens is you may have the look, you might fool the attorneys and the record label, but 6-7 months in, when Enuff is saying, I'm playing it, but it's not doing anything, and we're putting our effort into something that we as a company believed in, and there's a guy behind it that has real numbers and real steam. It's really bad because I see other people that work hard miss out on opportunities because of bots. It's bullshit. It's
and it
real
impacts
bad.
your bottom line as a label because
Exactly,
you guys
because we're
assume
spending,
you'll be able to make money
we're spending
off
on
a real
something
fan
that's
base.
not there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's, we're investing. And I've seen it, like I won't name any names, but I've seen it as recently as about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Like a list came through on artists that we were dropping, and like 75% of the list were all phonies and streams that were bought, and it always comes to the light. It always does, no matter what.
Right.
Can't fake it. It's like he said, it's a vibe. You can't fake a vibe.
Right.
If it's not out there, it's just not out there.
And you also can't fake an undeniable situation when an artist, or even right now the show, all the people that are here, like, I can't, you guys are not robots. I can't fake that, right? So you can't, at least not in 2023. We'll see what 2030
Yeah, you can
will bring,
manufacture it for a little while because
Right.
I've seen it happen. And I've seen it happen in rare cases where they fake it and then they get a hit and then it goes. But then after that hit, another year later, the bottom still falls out because they didn't have the concrete, the foundation. They didn't have that. And not, you skip those steps. That's one thing I could tell everybody in here. Don't skip steps. It may take longer. It may take 10 years. It may take 15 years. But when you skip a step, there's somebody behind you that didn't, and it's more authentic. And the music is more authentic. And the movement, because the biggest thing is building a movement. A hit record is cool, but when you have a movement, it's unlike anything else. That means you have a group of people on one accord, and that's tough to get, and it takes time to build that. When you don't have that and you have just, bots and bought this and bought that, it never lasts.
I agree. And actually, an executive from Sony told me that, in 2015, give a hands up for that because that's real information. And look, all these things evolve. So again, 2015, 2016, 2017, when these things were early and people were able to fake it better, sure, labels fell for it, marketing companies fell for it, all
Labels
of
fell
that.
for it. I will
Right.
admit,
But they're
labels fell hard.
Yeah, but they're getting smarter now, right? And like,
There's always some, because guys are good at it, and the scammers are real. But it can only go so far.
Okay.
The cream always rises to the top, and then the other stuff is gone.
Because a lot of the artists that come across, they'll cling to that example. Well, he did it. Sure, take that risk. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's stopping you. But I'm telling you now, because I know the software in and out, if you don't have anything yet, it really hurts all your algorithms. You know what I'm saying? And like, labels are getting smarter. It's super easy. All they gotta do is call me. I'll let them know if your shit's fake or not. It's like, Rachel and Dennis, what do you guys like?
Yeah, so from my perspective, it's all about protecting our clients and our artists. And as an up-and-coming artist, you're going to be approached by people that are going to say, we can get you 1 million streams here, pay me this. And we having a strong team around you and being like, let's do it the right way is huge when you're coming up. And you run the risk of getting your music pulled from the Spotifys and the iTunes, and if you take part in this. So it's a dangerous game. It's enticing, I know, but you really want to do it the right way. And like you guys said, cream rises to the top. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that except for quality is what survives. I mean, the one-hit wonders.
Authenticity, right?
Yeah, it's not sustainable. You may have your 20 minutes of fame, but the people with the actual quality music and the artists who actually put in the work are the ones who last and are sustainable in the industry.
And guys, read that article that I had on, early on when this comes out on YouTube, you could see it. But think about it this way. Spotify has to pay out on fake streams. So they don't want to pay out on fake streams if they can help it. You know what I'm saying? That's like, imagine if you hired a fake employee and you got to pay them every month, but they're not doing shit. How does that even work? You know what I'm saying? So of course it goes on, but remember, Spotify maybe's been profitable in the last 2 quarters. Like, they're a company that is worth billions, but they're a public company. You can look this up. They're barely profitable every quarter,
Yeah,
right?
They're taking hits. They're taking hits.
Yeah, they're taking hits. So it's, as it evolves, it's going to get harder and harder to do it. Or, look, maybe easier with the AI, but again, there's going to be no longevity because the authenticity, is not there. So let me go with another question that I like to ask that, I want your perspective and how you build your team up and all that through all the grind. But, like, give me a little bit about how you build the team up over time for yourself to get to where you're at. But a quick recommendation for, like, artists, producers, and managers, like, what are some elements that you thought you had that actually attracted a good team around you?
1, 2. I mean, for me, for the most part, the energy that I put out was the energy I always expected back. So the first guys I got down with was like DJ Threat. Rest in peace, DJ Threat. He passed away. Threat was a half Dominican, half Irish gentleman from Brentwood, Long Island. And he would get in the street team van and drive all the way from Brentwood, Long Island, pick me up in Brooklyn, New York, drive me to the station, and then spend all day in the city just rocking with me. And then one day I was trying to get down with Funkmaster Flex's DJ squad, and he wasn't letting me get down with him. So Threat was like, man, fuck him. Let's start our own shit. And I was like, what we gonna call it? And then he said, what you call yourself? I said, I'm the heavy hitter, DJ Enuff. He said, well, we gonna call ourselves the heavy hitters. So I was like, and this the shit that's crazy is that this is a younger gentleman. Like, I'm the older statesman in this relationship. And my young man was hyping me up and putting the battery in my back to go for mine, which I needed. Because sometimes we need that. Sometimes we get comfortable in our space, and sometimes we stop growing and stop moving the way we're supposed to move. But the one thing I always relied on was you guys, the people in the street. You know what I'm saying? How many people here could say they from the hood? All right? And the one thing about any hood, I don't care if you're from Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, Jersey, anywhere. When you're from the hood, there's a certain sensibility that you have from being in the hood that people can't pull the wiki dink on you because you know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we grew up in 3-card Montes and hustles and credit card scams and people boosting and all kinds of shit growing up. So my thing was always to make sure we had the heartbeat with the street. And once you have the heartbeat with the street navigates the future of everything, whether it's on an algorithm form or not. If y'all say the shit is bullshit, the shit's going to be bullshit. So just keep that and remember that power that y'all have. Sometimes I don't think as a unit, collectively, we don't use it the way we're supposed to. But if we did, we could stop a lot of shit from happening. Because remember, this shit affects us too. Financially and, spiritually.
That's real.
Just dropping the gems, y'all.
So remember, treat people how you want to be treated, basically. And I mean, he is a good man. So, like, that energy is what, stays around and attracts good people around you. EP, what are your thoughts on, like, building a team?
Same thing E was saying is you want to keep people around you that are like yourself and people that you could trust. Keep your circle tight, small, and it will grow. And then people will come around you that are trustworthy and build to your brand. I mean, he's a perfect example. Like, he didn't say it. He's being very modest, but he really didn't want to even do the heavy hitters. And now look at it. Look at it. It's the biggest DJ crew in the world. And we literally were sitting there and just, throwing an idea back and forth like, should I do it, should I not? But, like, that's a perfect example of him listening to his peers and having a strong team and creating a strong team. And, big shout out to V because she's helped continue the growth of the heavy hitters. And, it's just... It's family.
That's my wife over there, y'all. My shit been hardcore for many years, but she makes my shit look pretty now. You feel me?
She corporate us out. She made us corporate.
She put a bow on it. In fact, a lot of DJ crews now bite and take our blueprint just so they could do what we do. And we could take it as a compliment, or we could be tight, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And I can vouch for their whole team. I mean, if you see the heavy hitter retreats every year, that takes a group of smart and hungry and driven people to put all that together. You know what I'm saying? And I want to ask you, EP, as well. Like, who's part of your team before I get to you guys? That helps you do what you do, or the label them.
I was very, very fortunate. I had a strong father, and from that, I have a strong family. So my team is really my family, and if I have a friend or an ally like Enuff, he's family because that's how I think about it. So, I do have a good team, but it's not just a team, it's family, and that's how I look at it. I look at my team as my family, my wife. That's why I bigged up V, because she holds me down, and my daughter, and it's, your team is your immediate circle, and like we don't play with that. Like that's me and Enuff, we're very, very serious about that, because DJ Threat, the gentleman that he was talking about, he was our family. So when we lost him so early, it just made us look at other people around us and was like, this is serious. Like, you can't just come around us and we not know that you won't go all the way for us, because we go all the way for each other. Right. And we take that very, very serious. And you guys have to do that. You have to get a good manager and a good lawyer, of course, but you have to have great day-to-day people. Like, that's most important. The people that are in your life every day is very crucial to your growth, not just in the industry, but in life.
And Dennis and Rachel, actually, Dennis, I think you can pick that mic up. It should be good to go. But I would love to get your perspective because of the experience your company has. Like, for example, let's say you got A-list artists like Eminem. Can you name like a few positions that are involved in that team on the daily or weekly basis, whatever, just to make all of that work? Because that's a huge brand. People just think it's just like the brand just exists and people just continue to like it for no reason.
Yeah, us first and foremost. We're involved every day. Because at the end of the day, it's money. It's the money that's being exchanged. They're trying to make money while they're doing everything. The lawyers, his manager, and when he's on the road, the tour manager. It's really, you got to make sure you have a strong foundation with your entire team, and it starts at the beginning. You don't want to try to play catch up by not getting people you trust and that have your best interests. And I know V's going to get a lot of love here, but she built up our firm like that. And we are a family at LL Business. And that translates into the relationship we have with our artists as well. And like I said, we do talk to our artists almost every single day. So it's just very important. Get people you trust.
So, like, for A-list artists, how many people would you say are part of that team? Like a number? What do you think? 3, 5, dozen?
From like the business management
Yeah.
side, we usually, it depends on the size of the artist, really. But if a bigger artist, we have 3, 4 people working on that client every day.
Right.
And I couldn't do it without him, and I think he would say the same. We all work off each other, and I think that's just from an internal point of view,
right.
But also from an artist point of view, we see, yes, it's obviously very important to have the right legal team and the right management and the right business management around you, but also personally, the people you surround yourself with and you bring with you on tour, on whatever you're doing, affects how successful you are and your longevity in the industry. And we've seen it go really well, and we've seen it go really poorly. So it's important to just surround yourself with people you trust, good people, positive people who will help you succeed.
So I want to play devil's advocate real quick and ask this question, because this is my personal experience. A lot of people say don't do business with family. And I came here when I was 11 from another country, so all my family was in Europe. So my childhood friends from middle school, I consider my family. Some of those were my ex-business partners, right? And I've been through a few companies. Sometimes I had a falling out, and it was unfortunate because it's like you're losing a brother almost. So what would you say to that? I want to hear that from all of you, right? Because that's the pretty side of things. Like, have people around you that you trust and that are family. But what happens in the negative aspect if, like, somebody crosses, like, how do you handle that?
Personally, I've seen artists when they're first starting out, they want to involve their friends and their family, and they want to bring them on and help give them more money, help them succeed as well with their success. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, unfortunately. And I think it's really up to the team you have around you to guide you and give you some heads up when they think things are not working or things are working. But I would say it's hard to mix business with family and friends.
Look, y'all, when the money comes, people act different. Even y'all act different. When the money comes, everybody acts different. Look, I remember coming up during the BIG days, and I was like this with Puff. Not that it broke my heart, but when I started seeing the dude like really succeed, when I first met him, he was only messing with Jodeci and Mary J. Blige. That's it. And I think he was like the fashion consultant, dance guy, right? And then he started his company, and then he asked me to become Big's DJ, and he changed my life with that. But when he became super gazillionaire, millionaire, billionaire, they changed because they are no longer in this tax bracket. So their friends change, even their family members change sometimes. It's unfortunate, but it's just the fucking way it is. So sometimes you have to help navigate with that. So when you guys are on the come up, my best advice for you is to please get a great attorney and a good manager that you could believe in. That's it. Those two pieces right there help you navigate through a lot of bullshit. That's a great question. He said, how early? If you can't manage your own bills, then look, see, LL Business is here because of me. When I started getting so busy, I couldn't pay my bills on time. Not that I didn't have the money. I didn't have no time to write a check out. Remember back in the old days, it was check. Everything had to be written by a check. So now I could Zelle something, or I could transfer some funds into an account and it gets paid. But they did all that shit for me. Everything. That's why, like last night we went out to dinner, he was laughing like, yo, if I hear another fucking talk about how my bank card don't work, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Because, he probably gets that shit all day.
All day.
Rich people problems. My bank card don't work. I want to pull out $20 million because the banks are going crazy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Call
But
Dennis,
that's the kind of shit that he has to go through. But if you have a great attorney, a good lawyer, and to get back to you, I think the time is when you can't navigate yourself anymore, that's when you get a good manager. That's it. Do it as much as you can. And then once you feel you don't have a handle on it, then that's when you get a good manager. Because at that point, you need to be managed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
And look, maybe this helps a little bit. I get that question a lot in my DMs, like, bro, can you manage me? You look like you know a lot about the business. And I don't mean to sound like a dick, but a lot of times I'll be like, did you make $100,000 from your music last year? And if the answer is no, then I'm like, well, what is there to manage? And again, it's not like the number to live by, but that means that you, especially in 2023, as many artists as there are and as many tools that we have for free, that actually makes it pretty easy, in my opinion, to make a brand and take it to the next level. You got to try to wear as many hats as possible in the beginning, so then you actually know how to write the fine manager because you've been through the gauntlet yourself. Exactly, so create something, and like he said, at a certain point where it's overwhelming, and hopefully there's some money there or at least some leverage. That money's coming soon. That's when you can attract good people and pick the right one.
And you might get a good manager who might not want no bread from you. You might. I'm not saying that's the case, but we had a couple of good ones, but they do it because of what's that shit called, the labor of love. And you'll be super lucky if you get one of those. You know what I'm saying? Like my man Haitian Pat's here. He's been with me since day one, from carrying record crates to parking my car to whatever. And he, to this day, 25 years later or 30 years later, he's still riding with me. But not because he wants bread from me, but because he believes in what I'm doing. And I loved him for that. So every time I get any accolades, I always shout him out, always big him up, and whatever I could do to make it right for him, that's what I got to do. That's my job, because he holds me down. So I want to hold him down back. That's luck. that's luck, brother. That I can't even. That shit is priceless right there. I can't even tell you what that's worth. But the next thing will be the lawyer, because lawyers are plugged in to other situations and business periods. So they'll know if Drake got a situation going on, or this artist or this company, and they'll be like, you know what? I got a soundtrack I want you to be a part of. I got a movie I want you to be a part of. You know, this new club's opening up down the block. You guys could have a residency there or some shit like that. The lawyers are always plugged in. You know what I'm saying? So not just because of business opportunities, but then when business is presented to you, they can help you navigate through that. So you can say yes or no if you want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's absolutely what I say. A lawyer, good manager, it'll help you get you real far.
EP, what about your thoughts on like some of the negative aspects of,
family? You got to be
business
smart.
with family, or
Yeah,
like,
you got to be smart. Like you can't, even if your cousin, if he's a plumber, you don't want him to do carpentry.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't have your family members do things that they're not skilled to do. So you got to be smart about it. Even though you want them involved, they may not be up for the job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the main thing. You can't put your people into positions to do things that they can't do for you, and you expect them to do it. It's tough. Like, right, we're not handyman. It's just not there's one interesting thing that's going down in the world of football. It's Lamar Jackson. He plays for Baltimore Ravens.
There you go.
Probably worth more than any quarterback in the league, but he has his mom representing him. So, he's over the last 2-3 weeks, everybody's sitting there saying like, yo, how come he don't got a deal? How come he's not getting his money? How come he's not getting his money? It's like, bro, he has his mother managing him and being his agent. I don't have anything to say bad about his mother, but his mother, that's her only client is him. Like, she doesn't have other clients. So he's jamming up all his paper because, he's trying to have his mother do something that she's really not equipped to do. And so you got to be smart about it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually had 2 artist clients. One is a pop band, and then another one is a similar genre like R&B, basically pop, R&B. And both, when they got to there are a point where there's been some label discussions. The label always like, man, there's going to be a headache dealing with the parents. And it's unfortunate. Yeah. And if the parents, got their,
tough.
And from the label, I'm sure that those conversations are had a lot at the label level. And it's unfortunate and it's tough because that's your family and it's like.
But there's situations where it does work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Twisted.
Beyonce, right? I mean, there's so many examples where like the family. But thanks for the family, they're big.
You got to be smart about it. That's my advice. Please be smart about it. You can't have a family member doing something they're not equipped to do.
And you guys, as a management company, before taking on the artist, did you ever have to say, "We'll give you the deal" or "We'll come on board," but unfortunately, you're gonna have to X out 1 or 2 people out of the team?
You want to answer, V?
We gotta have V on the next episode. But
we don't really tell people to cut people out, but we can see it coming when it's going to be a problem. Okay. And that's when you have to lean on the full team, right? The lawyer, the manager, and say, it's stopping business at this point. It's making it hard for them to make money and get things done and keep everything organized. Yeah. But no, we try not to really. You got to get rid of your mom. We don't.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to say that. I'm sure you don't want to say that.
Yeah.
So who gets stuck with telling the lawyer, like, hey, somebody needs to have a conversation with you do?
Yeah, no, we do that all the time. We can give advice every day. We can suggest things are or are not working, but at the end of the day, it's the client, the artist, who makes the decision, and we have to work around that. But I have a client who has a very large immediate family, 9 siblings, a mother, a father, a stepfather, a stepmother, and we've rotated, I think, sister to brother to sister, from personal assistant to, every role you can think of. And every time we try to make it work, but ultimately the artist suffers when the person they're hiring to do something can't live up to that. And yeah, we have to work with it. We try to advise them the best we can, but ultimately it's up to them.
I understand. Maybe you guys as a company can provide some training for their sister to say, hey, let's send her to management school or something like that.
What I like to try to do is I try to explain to my artists, it's your money. It's
Right.
not your mom's. It's not your sister's. It's not, it's yours. So own that. And if they're not getting the job done, then, tough conversations have to be had.
It is. I just want to bring these real discussions to the light, because it's like hearing it from people like this, I think it provides some value that you guys can, either relate to or just take as something to use later in the future when you make these decisions. But what's a blend, and this is for any business, but really for music, is like, what will convince you more, right? Because if you get 30 people on your Instagram be like, yo, we need to hear the J Catalyst song, that's probably going to make you want to spin it on Hot 97, for example, as opposed to what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, to a certain degree, yeah, because, like, for me, I like the personal touch. I like to just see people, in person. That's just who I am. But it's important, like I got a gentleman in the crowd. His name is BK Mook, right? This dude, I don't know how the fuck he does it, but he always got some hot artist next to him. And I'd be like, yo, how the fuck you do this all the time? Yo, but it's all the time. And the caliber of artists is different. It's like one day it'd be a rapper, then one day it's an R&B artist, and the next day it's like a person I can see on American Idol or The Voice or some shit like that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes the caliber of artists comes in front of you, and even sometimes with the power that I have, I'm not enough. It needs to be more than me. So I'm saying that collectively as a network, we got to do it together as a team. I'm only one, like I said before earlier, I'm not downselling myself or downplaying myself, but I'm only one person.
It takes a village.
It takes a village to get this shit cracking. It does.
What are your thoughts on that, EP? Like from a label standpoint, right? Because would you guys say, and this is for like, you representing Def Jam, would you invest into an artist that already built a little bit and take him 10x, or take him in the very beginning?
Each situation is different.
Right.
The one thing that I've always prided myself on, there's no such thing as standard. That doesn't make sense in our world.
I agree.
There's no standard. There's no every one of you guys' story is different. Your singles are going to be different. Your marketing is going to be different. There's no cookie cutter. Mm-hmm. So there's no way to answer that and say, it's just like Enuff said, that talent and that moment.
Right.
And when that moment comes, it's like, okay, we can go with it because this person liked it. Like the Connie Diamonds example. That may not, the LeBron thing, that might not work for everybody. Right. That worked for her, but it may not work for everyone else. So it's always different. And every time I look at an artist, I start over. Like I never, and even the artists that are made like Jadakiss is gonna come with a new campaign. We're starting all the way over from day one. You have to start over every time because it's always different.
It's art, right? That's the beauty about it. Like 1,001
fresh,
different ways to do it every single
fresh
time.
Start, what I mean? Every time. So that question, I get it, but it's hard to answer because every situation is very dramatically different.
Dennis and Rachel, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in, handle what you can control, right? And work and your effort you can control, right? Mm-hmm. Getting out there and pitching your music to whoever, even a business manager like myself. I get, music and whatnot, and who would think that I have access to a DJ Enuff or an EP? You never know who's.
Material, my brother.
Let's go. Yeah. But seriously, you never know who you're going to meet walking down the street. So as long as you're working hard and can control what you can control, keep going.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, because back in the day, 20 years ago, people like respectfully banged on doors all the time, right? And there's stories of that all the time where somebody called the right person at the right time with the mixtape, and then it went from there. Or, you want to say something? Yeah.
I'm going to say one more thing just so you guys get the gist of this whole shit. So I remember EP working Pharrell and them in the very beginning. Yo, he couldn't get a spin on Pharrell. Nobody wanted to play his shit. Nobody wanted to hear nothing from him. And you was there. Yeah. The early days.
They literally threw stuff at us at an event. Remember? Did you go? It was Asbury Park.
Yeah, I remember that. But I'm saying this is the kind of shit. This is why I say timing is everything. Because those same whack beats that they were rapping on are the same hot beats that end up becoming platinum records later. So it wasn't the art, it was just the timing. And sometimes people get it in the first here, and sometimes they don't get it to the 20th here. It's just timing, bro. So sometimes don't kill yourself if the first run of music doesn't work, because it might work around later. Because I know we talked about that earlier, about how maybe I think you said Russ made like the 87th record or some shit like that, or the 11 albums later, whatever. It actually just produces catalog for you guys anyway. Think about how many beats Pharrell was probably like denied. Nah, we're not fucking with that. He made all those beats anyway. They end up being catalogs, right, for himself. And then probably those same records end up becoming other people's hits. Because when they got hot, I'm sure he probably couldn't go with the demand, so he had to go into the vault and maybe bring up some old shit he made 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 years ago. Right or wrong? Because the turnaround, when you get hot, the turnaround shit is like, they want everything from you now. Yeah, you gotta go now.
You better be ready.
Well, now, I ain't ready. But it feels like I got 60 records that didn't make it before, and now we ready to go.
He believed, like Pharrell, he knew that his time would come, and you guys have to have that. He had the knowledge.
Timing
to be
is
like,
everything.
His thing was he wanted to land a record with Hove at the time, and he had like CDs
That was his dream.
That was his dream. He had CDs full of beats that he would be like, yo, I'm gonna get Hove on this. I'm gonna get Hove on this. And it was like 99 beats later, and we'd be like, yo, come on, bro. It's all good. But, you know, he did it. He did it. He believed in himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he really did it with Nori. Then after that, the world believed in him.
It just came.
That's crazy. So timing, y'all, timing.
I like to ask this to everybody that I meet, because I think, like, especially in the American culture, or in entertainment, put it that way, entertainment, a lot of times people are judged by their failures, right? Like, you could be as successful as you want, but then something negative happens, and it's like that can make or break your career again, or break it. But E, what would you say if you could think of any like major fail that you had, but actually was really a powerful fucking lesson, like something that from that point on just put you on a different trajectory?
All right, this is a real story. So my lawyer at the time was a guy named Paul Rosenberg. All right? He was my lawyer. And he goes, Enuff, can you help me with this artist? So I'm like, who's your artist? This white boy from Detroit named Eminem. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I'm a young disc jockey on the come up. I don't really have the power I have now. I took the demo and I left it on top of my refrigerator, and it stood there for months. And the ill shit is, I remember I bought a brand new batch of bananas, and the Eminem mixtape or the demo tape was on cassette. That's how old it was. It was on cassette, and it sat on top of my refrigerator. And I remember the bananas going old when they get the freckles in it, and they turn brown and nasty, and the demos were still up there. But the point is, if I had the opportunity to really help him, I would have tried. But I never kind of made that connection. So that was like a fail for me. But the success story is that later on in life, I ended up working at Shade 45 to this day, because Eminem didn't forget the support I gave him when he finally got on. So even though I might have not initially put him on, but when he got on, I was there to kind of navigate and help him through that anyway, because I was playing him when he was part of the Outsiders before he became famous with Dr. Dre and Aftermath. So I was playing him during the early days when he was just on some underground raucous, early vibes. So those are some of the fails and some of the positives. And then one more thing, I'm gonna quote Nelson Mandela. He said some fly shit to me one time, not to me personally, but he said don't celebrate me for being Nelson Mandela. Celebrate me for every time I failed down, but I got back up. So that to me was the hardest shit he ever said to me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that, because that's, that's a powerful lesson. EP, what about you?
Not giving 100%. There was a project that I had in the past that I didn't give 100% to. It made it anyways, but I remember thinking to myself, I'm never gonna do that again, because maybe it didn't make it and I didn't give everything to it. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to make sure, even if I don't believe, I can't say it. I can't say it. But, you know, just not giving 100%. I want to make sure that every day that I have a conversation or I talk to an artist or I hear a beat or I talk to a DJ, because I love what I do. So I should have no excuse not to give 150% every day. And it's a fail if I don't.
Right. What was that, before Def Jam or during? Like,
Yeah, it was before Def Jam.
Okay.
It was before Def Jam. And it changed me because it realized, like, yo, I'm doing something that people would really want to do, and I can't take that for granted. And I could help people change their lives, and I can't take that for granted.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was one of the lessons that I definitely felt like.
And I'm sure that was crucial because, I mean, now you're with Def Jam. So there was a reason.
But it was crucial looking at the artist and just saying I should have played a bigger part in that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you never know what the effect of your conversation or, you know, helping someone will do. So that was.
No, that's huge. I appreciate you sharing that. Rachel, what about, or Dennis, whoever wants to go first? And look, it could be both personal and business, you know what I'm saying? Because I think sometimes we have things in the personal life that will change our path that then positively impacts business and family and everything around it. So
I think artists, even after you make it and you're successful, things aren't smooth sailing all the time. Like there are always bumps. Everything is not always going to be good, and you're going to have failures, and you're guaranteed to have failures. And it's not. You can take that failure and not grow from it, or you can take it and move forward and learn from it and be better, and that is what makes an artist be sustainable, or that's your one-hit wonder. It's how you learn and grow from the mistakes you make, I think.
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. When I was saying earlier, enjoy how to solve problems. That's part of that, because a fail is a problem. It's, you know, you see it as a problem at first, but if you enjoy how to learn from it, or, you know, try to flip that mindset, that's, I think, how we all kind of move ahead, if you're able to do that. Sometimes it takes longer to learn that, sometimes not, but I think that's the key. Dennis, what about you?
Yeah, I'll tell a personal story. I don't have an Eminem, Paul Rosenberg story, but my wife does. She can go next, right, B? When I was younger, you know, I was in school, and it took me 8 years to graduate college to get my bachelor's degree. I was working at a gym. I was working at Sears doing security. And at one point, I'm like, I can't fucking do this anymore. And EP, you know, giving 150% really resonates with me, because I said, I'm going to put 150% into everything I do. I met V, I met my boss, and now, you know, years later, I'm working with the biggest artists in the world, helping them continue their career and make sure their finances are all set up. So it's just about putting effort in.
Yep.
Oh shit, the wife's gonna talk.
Let's go, V.
Yeah.
So when I first started at my company, I started off as a receptionist 21 years ago. And I answer the phone, and they go to me, can we speak to Marshall Matters? And I go, Marshall Matters? And I go, do we have a Marshall Matters department here? Not realizing that they were asking for Eminem. So that's the story he was saying. So for years, that was the joke, that I had no idea that Marshall Matters was Eminem. I thought it was a department.
Now you're running, OL.
That's awesome.
She's the big boss over there, right?
Yep, exactly.
So look, guys, we're gonna. V, I appreciate that stuff. I mean, that's, yeah, it's like Marshalls. Yeah, that's crazy. But what I was gonna say is we're gonna get to the live Q&A portion of this. And first of all, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful that, you know, you're willing to give the time, because that means a lot to me, to the artists. That's what I care about. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 questions from the crowd. There better be 2 good questions for the panelists. All right, the guy over there, I got the lights on my, with the hat on backwards.
So I heard you said that you were having a DJ thing in August.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to know, what's the best way to give DJs that you might meet at that event a single? Is it no longer CD? Is it USB? Is it a QR code?
I mean, the USB thing still works for me because I can put it in my laptop. But then, I mean, just getting the guy's email, I think is probably the best. But I know a lot of you young cats, I'm peeping this. Y'all be texting songs to each other. Text. So then what I gotta do is when I get a text, I gotta go to the text and I gotta forward it to my fucking email anyway. So what I'm trying to explain to you is cut the middleman out. Make this shit as easy as possible for me to listen to your shit. So basically what I'm saying is help me help you. You like that, Mook? You like that, Mook? Look. Thank you, my brother. I got you.
That's great.
Nah, say it, brother. I'm talking about you, Mook. Hell yeah. All right, good. Yes, Queen. Oh, when is it? You know what? When we get the information, I'm going to roll it out to him at Ted, and then he goes, make sure you share it with all you guys.
Scan the QR code so you can stay up to date with all this information.
All updates. Yeah, down. Yeah, because we all going to be here.
Follow me, follow Jay.
Yo, you know what else works? Airdropping works too.
Oh, it does.
If you come into a room like this, you could airdrop DJs, or that's a good way to promote and get your records. on
Peace,
guys'
King.
phones.
You a DJ? Okay.
You guys have any comments on that? Or I'll do one more.
No? Oh, they got more questions.
I promised her that I would do a question right there.
This young lady right here?
I promise.
Okay.
I have a question about when you're pitching yourself. Is it better to hear artists do their clean or their original song?
Wow, it's a great question. Honestly, I don't even know the answer to that. The question she asks is, while you're presenting yourself or your song, should you present it in the clean form or in its rawest form? I don't have the answer to that. Because I know, like, look, we used to have this argument all the time. When Wu-Tang dropped the Protect Your Neck record, it had the illest edits in it. It had sound effects for all the karate shit. So when we hear that on the radio, you got so used to the fucking edits that when you heard the curses, you were like, oh shit, that's what he said? It throws you off a little bit. So I don't know, hon. It depends who you're trying to get excited about your project. You know what I mean? Yeah, but DJ packs are important. Send a clean, send the instrumental. Also, send a TV track. I don't know if you guys do that anymore. TV tracks are very important. TV track is basically your song with either the background, the ad-libs, or the hook only. You know what I mean? That's what a TV track's called. Yeah, and it's good to have a TV track so that way when you perform, you have your own hype man in the track. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Sorry, Mate.
So look, guys, we're gonna end it here. I appreciate everybody coming. Make sure you support the bar, get a drink. Look, usually everybody's always kind enough from the panel to stick around for a few more minutes and talk to you guys. So first of all, make sure you're respectful. If you had a few drinks, make sure you behave. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're doing this for you guys. We're paying our money to be here every month. So make everything cordial. But again, we want to thank everybody for coming out. Please support the bar. I need that from you guys because we may not be here for too much longer if we can't support the bar financially. So that's why, it's one of the reasons why we're here as well. So please do that for me. Thank you.
You got to get the record label reps to put that credit card on the bar. I ain't teach you that part yet. Damn, Matej. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes they got the bag, man. They got the bag.
EP, where's your card at? Sorry. I appreciate you guys coming. All right, so next month, I don't have the date yet, but again, make sure you follow me on Instagram because right now it's free for now. Like 50 Cent back in the day, I'm going to charge you 40 now because when I make it is not, or it was a Fat Joe recently. Today's price is not, yesterday's price is not today's price, right? We're all in this to make money, help our families, and, educate ourselves, all of that. So support the bar. Thank you guys for coming, and we're out for episode 3.